Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Kellen here again with Droid Life. So if you're watching this today, well, you know, it is OnePlus AT Day. The phone from OnePlus to take us through the end of 2020 is now official from OnePlus. So we have, thankfully, big thanks to OnePlus for sending this out, a OnePlus AT media kit to show off a little bit. You guys have seen these before. It's typically the phone, maybe some cases. Sometimes they throw in other goodies. We will find out. So to get going here, we're gonna unbox it and give you a tour just like we always would. You guys ready? It's the OnePlus AT. So these media kits, obviously these are not things you can buy. As a member of the media, I get to play with sometimes interesting things. But inside the box is almost always a retail unit. This is not easy to get off. Okay. Oh, anyways, I didn't really show you much of this, but it says Ultra stops at nothing, and then on the back it just says that over and over and over again. So that's clearly the slogan for the AT. This box actually looks sort of familiar, and I believe it's kind of a wing design where these things are just going to fold out. Sure enough. All right, we are inside the box. So there, AT, and then here again are cases, which I kind of told you we might get. So a couple of cases. This looks like robotic internal sort of component looking thing, and this just looks like a silicone case. It could be that well, I should say with the Nord, they released a case. I believe it was Nord that was textured, sort of that sandstone color, but it was this. But this looks just like a sort of jelly TPU case. So anyway, a couple of cases. Here is the phone. Let's see if we can get this out. There we go. All right, there's the phone. Let me move this box. Okay, box out of the way. Here is OnePlus AT, which again, this should be retail. OnePlus QR code, OnePlus AT branding. AT, looks like this is a 12 gig, 256 gig aquamarine green model. So there's one of your colors, and there's one of your storage and RAM configurations. The other RAM and storage configurations I can talk about in a moment, but 8 gig RAM, 128 gig storage. So maxed out is 256 gig, 12 gig, which is what I have here. So slide out of the box. OnePlus packaging, by the way, it always has a really nice soft touch to it. I know it's just probably cardboard under here, but really nice soft touch. Weird thing, I know, but I open a lot of boxes. So let's see what's up top here. There's the phone, obviously. In here, guides, invitation letter, which is something they've been doing for a while. Sometimes I do this. Well, there's a SIM tool tray at the bottom of it. Sometimes I do this just so you guys can read it if you want to. There you go. Screenshot that, whatever you need to do. From Pete. Quick start guide, highest SAR value, stickers, AT stickers, and safety information. So there's your guides. Here is phone, and it is that aquamarine color. It looks very similar to the Nord. From there, though, this is where things get a little interesting as far as in the box. So this cable, as far as I know, this is the first time OnePlus has done this. Do you know what I'm talking about? USB-C to USB-C. So forever, they've given us these red cables with the white tips. But since I believe the OnePlus 2, when they first brought out USB-C, it's been USB-A to C. So for the first time, we got C to C OnePlus cable. That's exciting because, well, it was always weird that you had a charger that wasn't C on one end. So here's the other thing in here, Warp Charge 65. You can probably see that there on the bottom. Warp Charge 65. So this phone features their new charger, their 65 watt. It's actually not that heavy. There's 65 watt Warp Charge, or Warp Charge 65, which is 65 watt Warp Charger. And there it is, USB-C. So no longer A to C, it's C to C. And yeah, super fast. 65 watt charging. Uses like a dual battery technology in the phone and this to charge faster. You can charge up to full in like 39 minutes, which is just absolutely absurd. I'm assuming in 10 or 15, you can probably get to 50%. I mean, it's just the battery charging tech is just crazy. Typically, they try to pull heat into this thing versus from the phone, so your phone doesn't get too hot while they're charging stupidly fast. They put a bunch of temperature sensors and all sorts of stuff to try to make sure it's safe. They've done a pretty good job so far. So anyway, this is the new charger. All right, it's phone time. Clearing up. Cleaned up here, zoomed in slightly, rearranged. Here is your phone. The OnePlus AT in-display fingerprint reader. Let's rip plastic off. So this is the first phone since Nord, which was the first affordable phone from OnePlus in some time. Really nice phone. Did test that. Didn't come to the US, unfortunately. This color certainly reminds me of Nord. All right, so what do you need to know about the OnePlus 8T? New camera module. You can see this is totally different design. In fact, I hate to say it, but it looks a little Samsung-y. The color is very unique and very OnePlus, which you do love to see. So let's turn it on. Let's do that, and then we'll talk specs. I'm assuming there's juice. There we go. Little vibrate there. Okay. So 6.55 inch full HD display. However, it's 120 hertz. So stupid fast, stupid refresh rate, all that good stuff. It's going to just be buttery smooth. So OnePlus 8 Pro earlier this year was 120 hertz. OnePlus 8 was 90. And the OnePlus 7T from last year that this phone is essentially replacing also was 90. So this thing, 120 hertz. Ridiculous. Snapdragon 865 processor on the inside. Again, I mentioned the 128 gig or 256 gig storage option. And then it's 8 gig RAM or 12 gig RAM. LPDDR4 RAM, UFS 3.1 storage though. So with the 865 and the UFS 3.1 storage, this phone should be just crazy fast. And again, 120 hertz. 4,500 milliamp hour battery. Warp charge 65, which I mentioned. And again, 39 minutes is all it takes to charge this thing to full, which is just wild. Stereo speakers, in-display fingerprint reader we've seen teased. USB-C down here, and it is USB-C 3.1 in case you were wondering. There's one of your speakers. There's your SIM tray. Bluetooth 5.1 NFC, Wi-Fi 6, and the phone weighs 188 grams. That's not light, but as someone who's been using the ridiculously heavy Galaxy Z Fold 2, this phone feels light at the moment. Comes in aquamarine green or lunar silver. This is obviously the green. Runs Oxygen OS 11, which is Android 11. There's always on display in dark mode and all of that stuff. We didn't talk about cameras. So on the back here, we have a quad camera setup. 48 megapixel main shooter. It is the Sony IMX586 OIS, EIS, so lots of stabilization, f1.7. I believe that's the same sensor that was in the OnePlus 8 earlier this year, and also OnePlus Nord. So we'll see what they've done to improve, image quality. 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor in there. So no telephoto, but we do have an ultra wide, and they're saying it's their widest ever at 123 degrees field of view. 5 megapixel macro. I don't know what you're going to use that for. 2 megapixel monochrome. So maybe you can take some weird spy shots or something. So anyways, OnePlus T, let me jump past all of this stuff and show you Oxygen OS 11. And we are back. So Oxygen OS 11, Android 11. It's the first device from them to launch with that out of the box. Obviously, they've updated. Well, they have some betas running for OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro, I believe, with that. But this is the first one just straight out of the box. Okay, so Android 11 and Oxygen OS, what do you get? Well, it's a pretty big change. If you've been using OnePlus phones for a while, they typically had sort of this stock like Google Pixel experience looking UI. But with Oxygen OS 11, they're switching to, I've just got to be honest here, it's very much more in line with Samsung's One UI. You've got big fonts and ideas in corners, and then they try to stretch everything down to make it sort of one-handed, and nothing's more apparent than this screen right here, right? It says settings up there, big font like Samsung would, and then everything's pushed down. You see how there's this gap in here, and it's this one-handed idea where push everything down, so when you enter a screen, you can touch it with one hand, and then if you need to scroll, whatever, but when you initially get there, does that make sense? So anyway, and just kind of the skin in general is very much no longer stock looking. It's taking on an identity of its own. The layout of it is what reminds me so much of Samsung. So anyway, it is Android 11. So it's one of the first phones to run that. You've got similar layouts everywhere. I mean, nothing's changed in terms of layouts, but you've got some new goodies, like they added a dark mode toggle. So OnePlus phones in the past with Oxygen OS, below this, you had to go in and sort of like change your theme, and it was kind of a pain, I'm not gonna lie, to switch it from a light to a dark. Now there's just a dark mode. So you just tap that and everything goes black. So black or white. So no longer sort of the weird mashup they were letting you do there with a little more customization. There still is customization. You can do wallpapers and your clock style and your fingerprint reader animation. You can change icon colors and accent colors, but they used to do this kind of hybrid dark light. It was very weird. Display though, let's go in here just to show you. So refresh rate, it is 120 hertz out of the box. You can switch it down to 60 if you're really worried about battery life or something, but I mean, come on. The point of the phone is to run it at that stupid smooth refresh rate. And with the charger as fast as it is, I mean, if you get down to 15%, you just slap it on the charger and you're probably at 70% in 20 minutes. So, you know, there's screen calibration ideas. You can probably change the way the front camera is up there and get rid of the hole punch cutout. I'm not going to do that. By the way, I didn't mention that 16 megapixel camera up there, selfie camera. You know, they've got all their other stuff in here, like reading mode and vision comfort is where, I believe it just turns it in sort of that amber sort of nightlight mode. So you can really get this thing warm if you want to. They've improved that, I believe. They improve their displays every time they come out with a new one, and they're more color accurate and all this stuff. OnePlus actually takes a lot of time to work on those things. It kind of goes unnoticed, but they do, at least in like the reviewers guides and stuff that we get, they really talk about that stuff because they really pay attention to little details like that. I know most consumers don't care, but if you're into the nerdy stuff, OnePlus pays attention to a lot of that stuff. Obviously, I'm running gestures. This is, you know, how you get around it. You guys know that. You can get Google Assistant by swiping up in this bottom corner down here like this. I don't have anything set up right now, so it's not working. They have the Google Discover feed, not the shelf over here, although I'd imagine you can maybe change that to shelf if you want. Nope, just Google, it looks like. So you can see a game icon here. They've got sort of an air chamber thing built into this, so it hopefully keeps the phone much cooler if you're gaming. They're big into mobile gaming. I don't know if you guys know that. They sponsor a bunch of mobile gamers, and they really push mobile gaming. Maybe not in the US, but elsewhere they do. As far as their apps go, here is all the apps that come out of the box. You can see it is not a very long list. They really do a lean job there, which I appreciate. I believe there's a new voice recorder app. It almost looks like Google's. It can't really be Google's, right? But it will try to, you know, text to speech sort of thing. New weather icon. What else am I missing in here? Not much else. But you can see lots of Google apps, Google Phone app, Google Messages. So they're not doing their own messaging app and things like that. Not sure what else to show you. You know, this is just an unboxing. Oh, always on display. Let's dive into that. So security lock screen. I'm assuming it is here. If not, then hopefully it's in display. Ambient display on, always on, all day. You can schedule always on display if you want to. Anyway, so always on display, that's a big thing that came with Oxygen OS 11. I know that's kind of hard to see. Can you guys see that? Always on display was finally on, is finally on OnePlus phones. And you can really customize that too. I can't remember where you do that at. It's been a while since I played. I might be in customization clock. So in clock style, you can change to a bunch of these clocks, and these are what we'll show, and you're always on display. Insight's one of those things that it shows you throughout a day sort of your usage patterns and kind of changes the visual on the screen, which could be kind of cool. But there's a bunch. Here's just one more. And clock. Can you see that? So anyway, always on display, finally here. So not much else to say. This video is getting long, and I apologize. So OnePlus AT, we ran through the specs, coming very soon. I'll put the pricing up right now so you can see it and where it's available and all of that, since I don't have it as I'm recording this. But very excited to test this, to get away from the Fold 2 and the heaviness and get back to a normal phone. Comments, questions, let us know. We are Droid Life. Peace.